And welcome to the Glacially Musical podcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing. Of course, I am Nick Cameron of Glacially Musical, and I am joined by my good friend, a man is, who's never worried about boorish behavior towards me, who's always willing to give his opinion in the rough and tough Bronklyn, New York kind of way. Keefy Chuffy, how we doing today, buddy?
Alrighty, chuffy. I thought chuffed is like when you're humbled and honored and
That's
pleased.
yes. No, chuffed is when you're like, look at me, look at me. Chuffy is when you are surly in a clownish way.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I'm potentially.
I certainly didn't Google ch adverbs before we got
It
on the meeting.
is entirely possible. How you doing, brother?
I am spectacular. I am happy to say I am honoring Ghost Cult Mag today due to thank for our long-term association and thrilled that it's still going on. I'm wearing Culty. You're on mute, dude.
How'd you get that? That's insane.
This is the Mexican soccer jersey I purchased in Mexico.
Oh, that's sick. It is literally looks like our logo, our mascot,
Mhm.
Culty.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Oh, here we go. He's doing a strip. He's meow 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 meow. Oh, Metallica. Okay.
Metallica, because it's almost
Unintentional
Metallica.
shirt check early. Do we just shirt check this week first? I have
Yeah, shirt it.
my haunt shirt. I have many of these. $10 bin at the haunt show. That's what I'm talking about.
It was actually not my intention to do the double shirt check, but it's hot in my sitting room right now. So beer check. Wore the soccer jersey one because I thought it was funny, the whole culty thing, and I genuinely appreciate our long term association and our friendship. But it is also a week of soccer victoriousness in St. Louis. St. Louis City SC, my hometown side, has set another record for an expansion club. They won the Western Conference Championship this week. It will be the number one seed in the West going into the MLS playoffs in their first season, which gives them a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League, which gets them more money, more fame, more all the business, which is great because that's how soccer works. So they'll be playing teams from Panama or Puerto Rico or Colombia or Brazil or Argentina in a tournament, which not exhibition games, but games that actually matter. And so, with that, to celebrate St. Louis City SC and all their wondrousness, my beer check. Ole, 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 is the Tim Parker Pilsner, number 26 in your program, number one in your hearts, the best ginger on the team. And
Is he the
as
only ginger on the team?
yes, but he's a starter. He's pretty good. As my wife put it, I love gingers. My brother-in-law is a ginger. My daughter, my wife. I'm sorry, not my wife. My daughter, my mother, my cousin, my grandfather. We are a family of Scottish gingers. So drinking I've never had this actually. This is a dry hopped pilsner, 5% ABV. No idea. Gonna have a second beer of some sort. Into the missed. I missed into the Stella Artois glass. My knee is tasting the beer before me. That was a significant amount. Oh my God, look at that color.
Nice, well done, Nicholas, for all his efforts to try to get me to acknowledge a football that doesn't include an oblong pigskin. I still recant. I will not. I will not recant. It is heresy. Only American football. Unfortunately, my team's in the shitter. Giants are 1-3, looking at the abyss, and yeah,
Oh, the football season hasn't started yet. Football season doesn't start till like February now.
yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
The US
there is
XFL?
no Dana, only Zool. There's only the NFL. Stop it.
No, I refuse
We're
to acknowledge it
Americans.
exists.
This is an American podcast, and we only watch American football here.
In 4 weeks, I'll be hosting my football championship party for cool people too.
Does that overlap with Metallica?
No, it does not. It's 3 weeks. It's 2.5 weeks after, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's the CFL championship.
CFL, I marginally pay attention to because some of those guys end up in the NFL. Here is my beer check. I have a beer I have never had before, but from a beer brand I have had before on the show. Calicraft from California here. They make that Misfits beer I had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
last year. And this is Neurotic Dog.
Oh, that's nice. Oh,
Double. He's got a very worried face on the can. I'm not sure if you can make it out, but
a
it is
little
a
bit.
hazy, which I don't love the hazies, double IPA. So we're gonna go with the pop.
Yeah, that's a
Get
pop.
that
I
pop.
forgot to mention this is Four Hands Brewing,
Guys.
which actually there is a family connection, distant, 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 so distant my wife doesn't even know them,
All right. Well,
and it's her family. So,
I got my pour. I managed to not go over. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. All right, and then cheers.
cheers, my friend.
Yeah, it's super hazy. I don't love it, but it is tasty. It's a good beer. I just like not my personal favorite flavor profile. It's like super juicy. Not
I'm
a
not sure where
big
I'm at
fan.
on this.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Heineken
Oh,
a
I
little
like
bit.
Heineken.
So it's got the skank. It's got the skank that Heineken's always missing.
The formaldehyde.
No, the problem with Heineken is by the time it gets here, it's lost all of its skunk. And that skunk is a good thing. That's how you know it's fresh. Moosehead Lager is another Canadian beer, which I'll be most likely be serving at my football championship party for cool people too, as I did last year. But let's move on into the vinyl check. I got a pair this week. This week I got these two records for $5 a piece at Planet Score Records in Maplewood. They have a couple of boxes which are just, cheap giveaway boxes basically, and I'm actually surprised I got both of these for the prices I did. Number one is The Police, Zenyatta Mandata. I actually work with a dude named Kenyatta, so I should be like, Kenyatta, do you want to hear Zenyatta Mandata? See how that goes. He's like 25, so he probably would have no idea who Sting even is. And already in the sleeve, listen to this one once. It's got a couple of songs on here that I knew. I've discovered I'm really not a big Police fan. I don't dig them all that much.
Tragically, I had tickets to see them on their final reunion tour, and I was in
Ooh.
grad school, and I had a study group that conflicted with the concert, and I needed to go to the study group to pass the midterm, and I sold my tickets to the show, and then they were like, "We're never coming back." That's it. I was like,
Oh, and those guys hate each
they
other.
definitely were not fans of each other.
The other one I got that day was can't remember what the name of the damn band is. Medusa.
Trapeze, trapeze,
Trapeeze is the band?
I think.
Yeah, that is correct. Medusa by Trapeeze.
Mm.
Of course,
Though the fonts are kind of reversed, it should be trapeze, Medusa.
right. It's Glenn Hughes's first vehicle, as it were. I became a pretty goodly sized Glenn Hughes fan over the years. Especially love his purple. His Black Country Communion is pretty good. You know, he's just done a lot of stuff, and he's just one of those rock and roll survivors. You just can't get rid of him.
He's pretty American now. He lives in California and he works all the time. And he's what's the other group he's in? That's the big
California Breed.
the Dead Daisies. Is he
He's in
back?
Dead Daisies.
He's back in the Dead Daisies.
I don't pay attention to the Dead Daisies. It's just like a rotating. It's like a stockbroker who had enough money to like hire a bunch of like aging rock stars, and he just
That's
kind of
definitely
rotates
possible.
them in.
And that other guy, it's very possible that's the tenor of the band.
What's your vinyl check this week? Let's
I have a 2-4. So hopefully that's okay.
You got a 2-4?
I got 2 instead of 1.
Oh, a 2-4 is 24 beers in Canada.
All right then. I am still working through my Chicagoland purchases from Reckless Records, but I have some other stuff to mix in the next few weeks. Here's another one that I got. Voivod, The Outer Limits Repress. This is amazing. This was $20. First of all,
20 bucks.
$20. Reckless Records, you have my heart.
When people talk about how expensive records are, I average about $20 a purchase overall from new, used, and we used to pay when I was in high school. CDs were new. We paid $20 for a CD.
Fun fact about Voivod, who I love. This is one of their early records, and they had their first album had a huge hit with a cover of Pink Floyd's Astronomy Domine, if you pronounce it correctly in the Latin, not Domine.
I say Domini.
Everybody does.
I rhyme it.
They went back to the well on this record and did the Nile song. Not
Nice.
great. Not great.
Oh,
but
unfortunate.
let's just look at the Not yet in the mylar. Look at this beautiful. It's hard to
Oh,
tell here with the
translucent red
translucent
smoke.
red with yeah, smoke black, whatever. Not in no paper sleeve, but this lyric sheet
Hmm.
with hand drawn by Michel Langevin away, the drummer away. So this is really cool. And then so that's one, $20. And then I went to see Saturday night first show, second show back since I came back to California, and Converge was playing not too far from my house at a place called Neck of the Woods, and a tremendous West Coast tour lineup of Converge, Def Club, King Yosef, and Entry. And Entry is a band, a hardcore band from LA that I interviewed several years ago during the worst of times. I had never seen them live. And they were selling quite an array of merch, and I wanted to support the openers because I have enough Converge records. I have some Def Club stuff you've seen me unbox on the show. I bought the King Yosef LP that came out earlier this year when I saw him open for Godflesh, so I was like, let me support the opener. So Entry has a 7-inch called Exit Interment, maybe. It's an EP, actually, technically on Convulse Records. Very hardcore punky looking, almost handmade looking, right? And
Hmm.
then
I dig
on
that.
this very cool, came in a paper sleeve, came with a little fold out lyric sheet that looks like a handbill that you used to pass out at
Handbill. Look at Keefy
factories, and then on the pink vinyl,
busting out the terms from the 40s.
pink vinyl Entry. Check that band out; they're really good if you like political hardcore. They smashed it. They came out, played 20 minutes, and just destroyed. And I was really proud of them, and I was happy to support them with my dollars. I also got a shirt from them. You'll show up in a future shirt check, but I didn't wear it today
Well,
because I
as you
want to
know,
do the
I'm
two things.
I'm pretty apolitical, so I don't like anything
Oh, you're so
political.
apolitical. Oh my god.
But before we move on to the proper news, I want to give a little bit of personal news. I am on the cusp of never mentioning the other house on a podcast again, so I don't want to say much more on the air. Everybody, cross your fingers. And as for some music news, previous podcast guest and now friend of the show, Tom from 20 Watt Tombstone and the rest of 20 Watt Tombstone are on tour in St. Louis on Friday. So after you listen to this Friday morning, get your ass up to off Broadway and find me and buy me 3 beers. I'm worth it. Another piece of music news I've got this week: Halo of Flies, one of my favorite record labels out of the Midwestern United States, who was the first to bring you Vile Creature and Dawn Raid and uh, brought Bragg Nalpha, I can't pronounce her name, and a whole bunch of other really cool bands, Northless, Primitive Man. It's not coming back, but Corey is bringing back a new record label, which is a vinyl only label, Shape of Storm Records. So I am looking
Well,
forward
that
to
is
that.
fantastic news. Could you send me that wherever you got that from?
It's on Bandcamp.
All right.
I'll send you the link to
Just
it right
forward me the
now.
link whenever. What music news do I have this week? You know, lots of things, but in particular, I'm trying to think about what to share. I'm at a loss. I made a tweet. So we are in the peak of the album releases for the year. And I made a tweet that a couple of people DM'd me mad about. And I said, if you have already not announced your new album for 2023, don't do it. Because there are 400, at least, it's probably more, 400 plus rock and metal albums that I know of that are coming out between now and December 31st, and that is not including Bandcamp Black Friday or whatever, Record Store Day Black Friday. This week is actually, as you listen to this podcast and watch us on YouTube, Bandcamp Friday is this Friday, October 6th. But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff coming out. And even like Omar Cut This was complaining to me because we do as Nick is also part of, the voiceovers of the New Music Fridays. You know what you got spared this month is literally doing like 70 in a row for each day because there's so. And I've tried to chop it down as much as possible. Those things don't normally include live releases or reissues, as little as possible unless it's a really named band. So it's really, as a journalist, as a collector, as a fan, there's a lot of stuff coming out still. Take a chill. If you haven't announced your record and you don't have a plan for it to come out in the next month, push it back to January or February. There's no shame in that game. Even if you already announced it, unannounce it and put
Even
it.
if you do have plans, push it back. Get out
Yeah,
of the
push it back.
blizzard.
Just
It's a lot easier to
it's too
find a
much
snow.
noise. You're not going to get heard. No one's going to check your thing out.
It's
You
easier to
might
find a
get lucky.
snowflake in the flurries than
Yeah,
it is in a blizzard.
and yeah, there's so many. As my late father was fond of saying, even a paraplegic squirrel can find an acorn in a snowdrift. And I recognize how horrible that sounds as it comes out of my mouth. And I deeply apologize to all differently abled people. But that's what he used to say, I, who had a handicapped brother. So that was his. Even in a snowdrift, an acorn can be found by the poorest of creatures, the least able. It still sounds terrible. Oh my god. Anyways, making worse.
Yeah, walk away. Walk away.
Capra, who is the flag right behind me, has a new album out this week. So there's a lot of name bands on big labels are dropping stuff. If you're a DIY band, there's no reason you could. Oh, we planned for it. We spent the money. We already did the. Dial it back. Step it back, Fat Jesus, and don't do it.
Yeah, agreed with that. I guess we are ready to go straight to the meat then. Not a
Fast
whole lot to
track to
talk
the
about.
meat for a change. We
Mm.
last week we took 40 minutes to get to the meat, so like this week it's 15. Let's go.
All righty,
Set us
let's
up
go.
between Hello and the next record. Set us up, sir.
So
You're the
a
great
weird
table
thing.
setter. You are the Tommy Herr. You are the Mookie Wilson of this podcast. Set it up.
Fuck Mookie Wilson.
Oh, ouch.
Hey, do you not remember the Mets Cardinals
I
rivalry of
don't
the
care. I'm a
80s?
Yankees fan. I couldn't care less about the Mets, except when they won a couple of times and it made my friends happy. I couldn't
Look,
care.
I don't really care anymore, but you said Tommy Herr, one of the greatest second basemen of all time, who's not named Jose Oquendo,
Yeah.
who actually was the second greatest shortstop in the National League at that time. Unfortunately, he played on the same team as,
Ozzie Smith.
yeah, the greatest shortstop in all of
Ever.
baseball.
Probably
Yeah,
ever.
so
Yeah, probably ever.
anyway,
Except for that guy
so,
named Jeter, who just wins.
but Derek Jeter did way more than Ozzie Smith. He wasn't just the defensive shortstop Ozzie
Yeah, it
Smith
actually was
was.
not that. He was occasionally great as a defensive shortstop. He wasn't consistently great. Like
Right.
all
Ozzie
90s.
Smith was always great.
Always
And
great. Literally at 100 years old, he was like
yeah.
catching freak,
And he was a 300 hitter for most of his career.
most of his career, which is insane.
And stole, I think, 700 bases, which
That's also
back
insane.
then was nothing.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
And now it's like seven. Holy crap, you stole 300 in your whole career?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good
baseball's
times.
changed.
Take it over,
So
sir.
let's go back to the heady days of 1989. A funny thing happened on the way to the studio. I presume GWAR did a little bit of touring after they put out their very prestigious record on the most prestigious and hallowed record label in all of that neighborhood of New York that it was based in. Shimmy Disc Records. No shade to Shimmy Disc. They were an independent label that has come and gone and come and gone again. And I thank them for beginning the story here. It's kind of like Sid Barrett with Pink Floyd. There's no Pink Floyd without Sid Barrett, and there's no GWAR without Shimmy Disc Records. That's how they get out of Virginia. That's how they stop being college students with a blood fetish and become a national touring act. So they find themselves on the metal record label of record labels. And that, of course, is Metal Blade Records. And I'm sorry, my nose is crazy itching today, and I'm trying to be professional, and I'm failing. So they end up on Metal Blade Records. Metal Blade Records is a label that has released music by Slayer, by Metallica, by Anthrax, I believe. Am I correct on that, or am I wrong? I think I'm wrong on that. But they continue to put out, King Diamond, Merciful Fate. They continue to put out legacy bands. They continue to put out amazing new bands. So for the satirical metal band which is how they're always described on Wiki. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but I'd say comedy metal, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to stay out of the weeds on this one, but it's important to remember there were two camps in the metal world, essentially. The idea of the subgenres had not really been enumerated, they were not written in stone yet. They started existing, the cracks had formed years ago, but there were basically two major camps. David Lee Roth, swinging the hips, putting on lipstick with poison, teasing your hair up to the rafters with Whitesnake, or Metallica, Slayer, King Diamond, where you were serious. It wasn't a joke. You didn't smile. You didn't say anything funny on a record. Then you have GWAR, who comes along, and what are they? I don't know. Their music is more akin to what Metallica did, the serious camp, but their whole vibe, of course, is closer to the silly camp. They took the Kiss idea and quintupled it. The whole concept of characters. They actually created a backstory on the characters. They created a lore to the characters, which is, I mean, truly amazing. So in 1990, they released their first album on Metal Blade Records, Scumdogs of the Universe. I remember my cousin telling me, God, in 94, 95, maybe, how much better Scumdogs was than anything else they had ever done. And this record, by band and fan alike, is still considered to be the creme de la creme, their magnum opus. I disagree. My favorite is still Hello. That is will always be my favorite. And I'll explain that more as to why I like it better than this one as we go on. But they introduce more characters. We have Sexecutioner. We have Sleazy P. Martini. And Sleazy P. Martini was quoted by a good friend of mine, Josh Evans, all the time back in high school, but I didn't know it. He just kept saying, "How do you hide money from a hippie? Put it under the soap." And I just thought, wow, you're funny. Didn't realize what he was doing. So, and this beer really growing on me.
Okay.
What you got?
I mean, no notes. Going to Metal Blade drastically improved the fortunes of the band. Shout out to Brian Slagle once again for just having an ear for talent, a brain for the industry, knowing what's going to sell. I'm sure that first record exceeded its expectations.
Somehow.
But to go to Metal Blade really legitimized them as a band and not just a joke band.
And it also put more money into the production. If you look at the costumes on Hello, and the cover of Hello is a great cover, don't get me wrong, love it. However, it's very amateur. It's very, looks like the drummer drew it or the drummer's girlfriend drew it. Whereas now we get into Scumdogs, and Odorous Orungus actually looks like Odorous Orungus as you remember him. And the costume stopped being just a headpiece and a loincloth, and we move into a full actual thing. So the Scumdogs of the Universe, as they call themselves, actually come to fruition. And yes, completely big props here. And the difference between being on an independent label and Metal Blade at this time is playing, a 200 seater in front of 20 people each night versus playing a 1,500 seat club and getting people there.
So here's another thing about Metal Blade. They were indeed on par with a major label record because at this time, Metal Blade had a distribution deal with Atlantic Records, which is how they acquired King's X at the time. They were like doing crossover records that were not Metal Blade bands. They were helping distribute and promote those bands, but also Atlantic was then distributing Metal Blade albums, Armored Saint and Cannibal Corpse and GWAR. Oh my freaking god! Like you can't equate today what a big leap that is for the band. How huge
And
that
then
is.
2 years after this, they get King Diamond and Merciful Fate. The run we did on King Diamond Fate was all Metal Blade records. They had been on
That's true.
Roadrunner up to that point.
That is true.
That's not always their best work,
No,
as we learned.
but the intent was there, which is what matters. And
Correct.
Brian was basically the executive producer on a lot of these records. So big ups to Brian once again, Brian Slagle. Not a friend to the show yet, but maybe someday. I have interviewed him
He's
once
a friend to
before.
he's a friend of the show in my heart.
I mean, I interviewed him for Ghost Cult for the first book. He has a second book out. I need to get my hands on, but yeah, no notes. They kind of fulfilled Hunter's dream by going to Metal Blade and getting more money to do what they do. In the fullest, literally, I can't believe they're going to give us $5,000 for doing Wayne's World. Like, that's what happened.
Got
That's what happened.
$5,000. We
We
got
got
five
five
thousand
thousand dollars.
dollars.
Yep. When'd
I
you
love
get the
that
CD
movie.
player? When we got the money. Like, I said, let's go to the Mirthmobile the other day, and somebody was like, "What the fuck? Like, what'd you say?" To the Mirthmobile. They were like, "What?"
At the car show at my wife's office, there was a Mirthmobile
That's sick, bro.
in that color, in that sky blue.
With the flames.
No, no flames.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. The Mirthmobile was a pacer. This was a gremlin.
Okay.
Shoot, it was close. It was close.
All right. Then.
Referencing 32-year-old movies that no one remembers.
No, I mean we remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I'm worried about Pepperidge Farm punching me in the face because I remember too much.
Oh, could be. That's what beer is for. That's why we drink.
Working on it.
Doug Stanhope. This is why we drink.
He's a lot
So,
better than his old partner. Anyway,
oh,
Doug Stanhope actually had one of the best bits about the Yankees I've ever heard in my life.
oh,
He's like, I'm not a big baseball fan, but what I really hate are Yankees fans. Yankees fans, it's like going to the casino and rooting for the dealer. So you're sitting there, you're watching the game, and you're like, yeah, bitch, my dealer busted you, bitch. I got my dealer jersey on. I love this guy, bitch, get out. And you know what? Yeah, that's what rooting for the Yankees is.
fair enough.
I don't even like baseball that much anymore.
I
I don't.
know.
But for some reason, you bring out in me 10-year-old Nick.
Well, I did
Baseball
love
was
going
life.
to Wrigley. Was magical. It was really unbelievable. I had a wonderful time. Apparently, they're getting a Culver's in Wrigleyville next year in that neighborhood. I did not get to go to Culver's, but I
Have you ever been to Culver's?
never.
You wanna?
I mean, you got one in your town: Bucky's, Culver's, and Come and Go. If you got any of those three,
No,
I,
come and go. I think I
damn
got
it.
4 Culver's.
All right, definitely go to a
Culver's
Culver's.
is. You like Steak and Shake, Freddy's?
Yeah, I'll do a Steak and Shake. I used to do marketing for Shake Shack.
No, we got that
Um,
now.
but like, yeah, Steak and Shake, I've maybe been to once at the
Steak, don't go to
airport.
Steak and Shake anymore. Once after the Great Recession, they started going downhill. They
Okay,
started shrinkflating it, and now it's like I don't know what they're gonna
okay.
do. So
I mean, like, I'm going to your town. I should have a high end experience, but also the gutter in me is like, eat the crap.
well, if you want to get the gutter, we got to go. Well, we got to go to Lion's Choice. You like roast beef, right?
Fair enough.
Lion's Choice is the best roast beef sandwich you'll ever have. It's
I
just
don't know about that. I lived in Boston. Did you remember that I lived in Boston?
you never mentioned it.
I never once. Is it
Never
you sure
once.
that I
Never.
lived in Salem and Brookline and Quincy and went to BU twice?
My name is Keefy. I
My
live
name
in
is Keith. I
places.
live in places. I'm fully uninteresting. That's why I give my resume and my whole life history every time I come on this show, because I'm desperately trying to get validated, like
I
parking
validate
with
you.
no car.
Your parking is validated.
That's what she
May we
said. Park in the back. Anyway,
Oh.
heyo.
Well, this album does talk about butt stuff, so that
A
kind of
lot
pretty
of
much
butt
nails it.
stuff on this record. Shall we
Let's
get into the record?
let's yes, hang on. Let's not do a whole lot of lyrical deep diving on this one, I think.
Oi. Um,
I
it is meant to be satire and comedy.
It's
That being
comedy, but
said,
still.
even for 1990, there's some hair-raising lyrical themes I'm shocked they got away with. But again, Brian
Without a sticker.
want no sticker. Brian wanted them to be who they were.
Oh, he got it.
He got it. He knew what band he was signing. He passed the test. He understood the
He got at
assignment.
least 4 songs about butt stuff.
Yes.
This is like this album is hornier and pervier than Orgasmo. I don't think they discussed DVDA in this.
Yeah.
I think that's just because nobody had thought of it yet. I think had Orgasmo come out before this record, DVDA would have been all over it. But let's before we get to the track by track, obviously you said last week that Sick of You was your favorite track on your favorite GWAR track, period.
It is my favorite. It's not only my favorite GWAR track, I couldn't even listen to the whole album today without putting it on repeat each time, multiple times, just on a loop, dancing around my apartment here to Sick of You. I love that song so much. It's still my favorite.
You know what you know what I never do? I never repeat a song on a record. It's just I hate when we do these, it actually is a little bit of torture for me because I try to listen to the record multiple times and I hate hearing something multiple times in a short span. It has always been
So, fun
just
fact, I think a lot of people have a behavior you don't have, including me,
yeah.
which is that I get fixated on a song or a riff and I have to hear it a million times in a short span of time.
No, that's why I buy other records.
I want the whole record listening experience, and I still do that. But with Spotify, which is a thing I never did much before in my life, except with cassettes, which is how I broke all my cassette tapes. With Spotify, repeat, 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 and I listen to a song. When we get to the end of the year stats of all my stuff, the songs that are the top bunch of songs is because I have listened to Midlife Crisis by Faith No More 8,000 times in a row. God Lives Underwater from Your Mouth over and over this year. Amigo the Devil, Hell in You over and over. So, like,
Okay.
that's me. That's my patterns. They're not yours. Other than
So
that, when I'm listening for listening, I listen to a whole album.
well, it's not I don't even mean that. I just don't like hearing the same stuff multiple times in a short span. Like I don't like to hear the same song within a week. I actually stopped listening to terrestrial radio for about 10 years because I had to be completely away from it to be able to listen to it again because there's so much repetition. But before we get to the track by track, let's discuss just general feelings on this album. This album is definitely a step forward in terms of sound, in terms of production, and in terms of playing. They leveled up everywhere. Thoughts?
I agree. I think this was like a lot of bands, it's their third record that synthesizes everything, but they showed up on two. And that's what I'm trying. Like, this is their.
I realize now you were getting to that, and
That's
I thought there
okay.
was some confusion.
That's what you do. You assume, and I understand when you make an ass out of you and me. I still love you.
We're talking about butt stuff again already?
There's all kinds of butt stuff. Even more butt stuff that I like. It's a little too much butt stuff, even for me.
You're just gonna have to take our word for the butt stuff on this
It's
because we are not
so
gonna.
much. Well, I mean, I'm gonna.
Well, there's
kind
butt
of.
stuff in the first song, the second song, and then all the rest of them.
Basically, it's 14 songs of butt stuff. That should be their next record. GWAR, 14 songs of butt stuff. 12 gracious melodies. Again,
okay, I need another beer. Do you want to stare at the flag or do you want to pause me?
I guess we're going to pause me. Jesus. All right.
All right. As Odorous Rungus likes to say, back that ass up because it's coming. I don't know if he ever actually said that, but I'm shocked it's not on an album.
The Cuttlefish.
Oh, God, he likes to cuddle with his fish.
He wants you to cuddle the fish.
Can I just point out that Blothaar's codpiece is the most messed up thing I've ever seen?
His codpiece or his actual?
No, the codpiece with the moose udders.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean that's what I'm talking about. His situation down there. That's his
Whatever.
junk. The codpiece is around.
Oh, I guess okay. You're right. I'm looking at this the wrong way. I'm looking
he's
at
not
it
like
as a
cow was just a bottom Donald Duck in it from the bottom, shirt cock in it. He's actually got it's in like a leather harness with cock rings, multiple.
God, this is the first time we've said shirt cocking.
Shirt cock.
God, that was a great line.
Deadpool 3 coming soon. Deadpool 2 is amazing. You're just shirt cocking it like a 2-year-old.
Oh God! All right, let's move on
going
to the
full Basic Instinct on you. Amazing. Imagine him and Jackman together in that movie. I'm already gonna like injure myself laughing.
I am just gonna have to watch it with peanut butter and melted butter by myself. That's just what I'm gonna need for that.
Do you have a dog? Peanut butter?
No, just that reference is.
No? Okay.
Yes. No.
No, you have a bunch of
No.
cats. You don't have a dog.
I was thinking of Live New Girls, starring what's her name?
Yeah,
No,
Mermaid.
not that. Nope, not
Splash.
that.
Daryl Hannah.
Nope, nope, nope. It's oh god, that's not the name of the movie. I don't remember. Watched it in the 90s. Anyway, moving on into the Salamanizer. Here
So
we
we're going right
have.
into the track by track, is what you're saying.
Do you have anything else to say about the
I
record in
really
general?
don't. It's great. I think it's pretty great. But let's
It's a
go.
damn good album. I have my copy is a record store release from 2020, I think, the 30-year release. So it's cool red. It's on 2 discs. It's 50 minutes. We probably didn't need to do 2 discs on it, but I mean I get why they do it. Anywho, listen to side two of that today because I put the wrong one on when I got home to refresh my memory. But it did start off with my favorite track. Spoiler alert. So Solomonizer, here we have a really good, in my mind, continuation from what Hello was. The difference is it's like I was told by the singer from Snafu. We started off as a punk band, but then we learned how to play our instruments, became thrash. And that's just
That's where you got that from. Okay.
yes, that's just kind of how this feels. There's a lot more of that modern metal sound, that palm mute, that crisp guitar sound. It's very dry, which really makes it heavier. That Megadeth sound, that Metallica and Justice for All kind of sound, very different from what they had before. The previous record, I think Hello, the recording, the production of that record really added to the atmosphere of it. I think it would have sounded wrong had it been recorded properly. And they probably played like this on that record, but it's like kind of like, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, or, those albums that just get done wrong. And eventually that wrongness becomes part of what it is, part of the DNA. And Odorous here, we have full on fully formed odorous Irungus, the lore, the belief, the conviction. And that's the thing about being in a band like this. Your conviction has got to be like level 35. You have got to be if you have any question about what you're doing anywhere, you are definitely not going to wear that head, Marilyn Manson's old G string, and paint abs on your stomach.
You have to throw caution to the wind and go all out and
And he
all
went
in.
all out in the front and the back.
He definitely
He
did.
basically shirt cocking it on stage.
Totally, the whole band is kind of sharp
Yeah.
cocking it. Let's stop for a second, just because you touched, before I even talk about the Salmonizer, which is great. Um, we're going to talk about, you said the production, right?
Yeah.
Part of the genius of this record is the production. So Ron Goody is one of the three producers. I'm sure Brian Slagle has like an executive producer credit as he does on most Metal Blade releases, but he's actually hands-on future records as the actual producer. But this record was also additionally produced by Hypoluxa and Hermes Pan, who are pen names. Hypoluxa is Al Jorgensen of Ministry, and Hermes Pan is Hermes Pan is Paul Barker of Ministry. Yeah. So like, dude, like at the time,
there we go. That explains
Ministry,
the sound.
Revolting Cocks, a lot of other underground metal and industrial albums were all produced by Hypoluxa and Hermes Pan as Al and Paul, who are
just
also
to keep the theme going, because we've said it so many times already today. We were watching the Simpsons episode and they mentioned the word cockfight, so I had to explain to the child what a cockfight was. Actually, I kind of did it anyway. She asked me not to. Cock fight, shirt cock.
Yikes!
Molten cocks.
You meant with like roosters, right? You didn't.
Yeah.
I worry about your child. I'm not a parent, but I worry about your child.
My child is getting
was already watched The Wall. Gonna get a tattoo in a year.
My kid's getting straight A's in a gifted school.
Gonna be smoking cigarettes and knocking over convenience stores like in Juice, like Tupac and Omar Epps.
Yeah, probably not.
Riverside, fool. Make yourself. Anyway.
All right, let's move into the track by track. We've
Yeah,
been
Salmonizer
yammering.
rules. End of story. Album is
Next week,
produced much better than the first one.
yes, and that I mean, having those two dudes doing it completely explains the sound because they know how to make a record, and they also know how to make a new wave record. If you didn't know.
Mm,
Anyway,
I do
so
know.
moving on to track two, we got maggots, and here we have one of the first instances of a recurring theme. We get the slaves, we get maggots, and that's just something that we hear a lot about in GWAR because I guess they thought the Ferengi were cool. I mean, I don't know. I can't really picture where this comes from, but you know what? It does. It does. And it's
It
cool.
works, and it's a pretty cool track actually. Like
Yeah,
maybe the track doesn't get enough respect
definitely
because
doesn't.
the content is mind blowing, but like it's pretty good. It's a pretty good song.
Completely agree. Next, we move on into the seminal "Sick of You," which is everyone but me's favorite GWAR song. I'm not trying to be different. I'm just different. I'm like
In the
Lady
immortal
Gaga.
words of my late and beloved mother, Shirley Mae Chancus, and she would surely say, "Don't call me Shirley." It was Cheryl. I'm not better. I'm different, but she meant she was better. Nick means he's better.
You're not. I am better, but I don't mean it. Not
Yeah.
my fault. I'm born different. Anywho, "Sick
Shall
of
I
You."
shall I gush about "Sick of You"?
Great song.
With
Absolutely love it. It's just not my
with
favorite.
a riff borrowed from "You've Got Another Thing Coming" by Judas Priest. The beat, the riff, and the bass are essentially that song. Second best vocal performance by Odorous. Amazing
Ever.
lyrics. Amazing, just unbelievable, hilarious, smart lyrics. And is the anthem of the band. Has never been out of the set list as far as I know. And it's great, and it's still great, and it holds up today.
I keep thinking of Dave Brockie and his actual voice and how he was just so happy go lucky and silly. And then Odorous's voice coming out of that man's face doesn't make sense. Moving on to my favorite track on the record, Slaughterama. Vocals by Sleazy P. Martini, which is, I think, my favorite name ever now. It wasn't a couple weeks ago, but it is now. Here we have a song about it's kind of like they read The Running Man by Stephen King as Richard Bachman. And it's basically they bring up people they don't like and kill them. He asks the hippie, "How do you hide money from a hippie?" "You put it under the soap." And then he puts a gun in the hippie's mouth, describes it.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah.
um,
"You got to put your mouth on this now."
it's hilarious.
It is.
There's like almost the comedy show element, like an Andy Kaufman
Mm-hmm.
absurdism. Like it's so smart. It knows it's so smart. Like it knows how smart it is, and it knows how dumb the audience might be.
It's
And
like
that's
being
the
me.
beauty of this band. The contempt. You're not supposed to have contempt for the audience. This is what undid people like Bill Hicks and you know
This
others.
is this is Andy Kaufman as Tony Clifton.
Yes.
But it's an even bigger level than that. It's actually Andy Kaufman as Andy Kaufman watching Bob Zamuda as Tony Clifton on TV, where everybody thinks it's Andy.
Right.
So I mean that's where this is, and that is a riddle wrapped in an enigma stuck into a bag of combos.
Combos the pretzels with cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those used to
The
be good.
best ones are you get the buffalo chicken wing ones and you get the ranch ones. You take a handful of each one and put them in your mouth at the same time, and then you're
No
just like,
shit.
it's like eating your pretzel chicken wings. It's
Nick was a
delicious.
genius, a culinary genius before anyone knew.
Cool.
Yeah, great song.
Uh,
Sleazy's debut, no notes, perfect. Mwah, chef's kiss.
Next we go into the Years Without Light. I'm gonna need some help on this one. Did not stick.
Interestingly enough, once in a blue moon, they put a song that could be serious, not ever serious, but could be serious, makes its way into the album. This is that song. This is the road behind for this album. It's not that sad, but it's a little more serious, a little shorter, which is thankful. It's under 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. I do. Yeah, I remember
And
this one
it's
now.
a pretty good track.
You know what? There's no butt stuff in this.
This is perhaps the one track without butt stuff.
This sounds like a sad god.
Mm.
That's neat. Scanning the crowd, defiling the writhing masses, I saw your death impaled on iron fences. Your fate was sealed. You're doomed to die on TV because your death, your bloody death, will never please me. Huh, interesting.
It's kind of some black metal lyrics, actually.
That is. It's like sad.
Yeah, it's a little
It's like
sad.
singing about death melancholy. Next move into King Queen, and we're into the soft underbelly for me
Oh
here. I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
It's not bad.
Oh no, this is one of the best songs on the record. I love King Queen. You know
Ah,
who
it hit
wouldn't
me.
you know who wouldn't have anything dumb to say about my trans friends and gender affirming care? GWAR, Odorous would have nothing dumb to say about these topics. You know why? Cuz King Queen, they know better. They've been doing it the whole way. Animal, vegetable, mineral. They don't care about gender. They'll bang anything, especially in the butt. So King Queen is incredible. One of my favorite songs ever by GWAR,
Primarily in the butt.
primarily in the anal orifice where the poo comes out, but basically any orifice will do. King Queen. I'm a pro King Queen stan. Sorry you're not.
It's not that I don't like it. It just there are songs on this record that really stick for me and songs that don't. And that is what I was talking about, the difference between Hello and this record. Hello, every song had its own character and it really stuck. This record doesn't have that. And I am going to chalk that up to the boys in Ministry because when I listen to a Ministry record, it feels like 4 tracks over the span of an hour. And maybe they're better now and I just stop listening and don't care. But they there's very little change in this record. It's kind of set it and forget it. The tone is the same. They didn't experiment with sound. They didn't experiment with any kind of you have Slaughterama and Sexecutioner. Okay, yeah, those two are different and those stick out really well. But apart from that, there's a lot of sameness here. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. That's okay. That's fair. I'll accept it.
And that's just kind of how I am on
I
here. And
accept that, Chucky.
it's not like it's not bad. I don't dislike it. I'm not. I mean, I again have it on vinyl, and I'm gonna keep listening to it. I don't know. I just, I just wish. I just wish they were. It's not even like saying the songs were written poorly or they're bad songs. Just can we do something to make them have some more character? And that first record, every song had its own character. Half the time they're singing in French accents for reasons that no one understood.
As Winston Wolfe once said, just because you are a character doesn't mean you have character.
I don't know who that is.
Pulp Fiction. Anyway, Keitel
He had a
in Pulp
name?
Fiction. Yeah, the Wolf. Winston Wolfe.
I didn't know he had a name. I just always knew him as a wolf.
The cleaner. King Queen rules. End of story. But I understand you on the sameness. And the soft underbelly. I don't know. I don't think this record has a soft underbelly.
Soft underbelly might be a bit unfair because none of it's bad.
Yeah,
It's just not.
yeah, it's just not. Yeah, okay. There's A tier and a B tier, and the B tier is most of this.
Yeah,
Cool. All right, go ahead, continue.
yeah. And next we get into Horror of Yig. Again, we got riffs, we got solos, we got bass jams, we got Odorous screaming that lovely guttural non-melody. Let's see, do we got butt stuff? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We got butt stuff,
I don't know
maggots,
what this song's about, except that it's about butt stuff. But I will tell you, the riff is a beast.
shaping, and I'm not saying that next word. Conscience is oh God. Okay,
Don't read
moving
it.
on.
Don't read it.
What?
Don't read it. You're
No.
just gonna hurt yourself, buddy.
I did. I'm already in pain.
Gonna need to be held later while you cry in a fetal position.
I'm
Mrs.
not sure if I
Cameron,
want
we're
to.
calling paging Mrs.
After
Cameron.
this, I don't know if I want to be held or I want the LD, but I might need
Uh,
both.
Oh, jeez.
Butt stuff.
Alrighty, yeah. Next.
You're not going to say anything?
I mean, I said great riffs.
Are you just going to leave that on me?
I'm
Okay,
just gonna
that's
leave it
fair.
on you. You said it. You said enough. You said it all.
Said too much. I said too
It's me in the
much.
corner. Oh,
I didn't
GWAR definitely were
say
not REM
no.
fans, and REM fans
No,
would not have
no.
liked GWAR. Discuss.
Uh, I would am surprised there's no like Michael Stipe being murdered on stage by GWAR.
I think they did
Quite
murder.
honestly.
I think there was a show where they murdered REM, the B-52s, and some like Tears for Fears or Aha. It's definitely happened.
All right, fair enough. Now here we go. Now we have GWAR ridiculousness. Happy go lucky, singing about nothing irreverence. I don't know if there's any butt stuff in this one. There's definitely none in the chorus. Vlad the Impaler. Vlad, he could have been a sailor, but he's Vlad the Impaler. Could have been a whaler, could have been a tailor. He turned out to be Norman Mailer. That's
One
wit.
of the best lyrics, witty, smart. How many people then looked? There was no internet back in 1990. How many people had to go to their library and look up Norman Mailer in the Dewey Decimal System?
We had a copy of Norman Mailer's book on Marilyn Monroe. I never read it, but there were like 3 pages that I looked at a lot.
Go Waka.
You know what they were.
I know what they were.
Uh,
Speaking of the next song,
what is the next
Vlad is
song?
great. Vlad's a good song.
Oh my God. I don't
Shall
want to.
I?
No,
Do I need
yeah,
to take this one?
yeah, do the whole thing. I'm not Googling.
Omar,
No,
don't cut this. Black
oh,
and huge.
oh God, I'm not cutting. I'm not even looking at these lyrics.
This song is not about Omar, but it could be. This song could not come out in 2023. They would be literally pilloried for putting this out. This is insane. This fact that this song exists is insane. There's
It is
no
a
black
testament.
people in the band
No,
to
it's a
defend
testament
this
to their.
song.
It is a testament to their personal.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. It's a testament to
It's
something
not
that.
racist. It's
I'm not
just
saying it is.
stereotypical, though.
Yeah.
It's very stereotypical, and it is hilarious. I'm just gonna go there.
And
There's
that's
not a
the thing.
racist bone in this band's body, by the way. That's just
No,
like it's.
no.
There has been a lot of misogyny, and I will tell you that even in 2022, when I saw them, it was a little disappointing that there are trigger warning R word scenarios even on stage, and I find that a little. You don't have
Yeah,
to. You don't have to
yeah.
resort. Like in 1990, I understood it. I don't approve it, but I understood why. Because they're trying to be shocking and extreme. But like
Right.
today, you don't need to.
That I understand the stuff in the lyrics. It makes sense because of what they're saying. The band is what the characters are. I get that. It's. I don't like it, but I get it. So now we move on into. Oh my, love surgery. Let me just give you verse one. Ha 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 ha. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Your flesh is insignificant. Still, you dragged yourself here on bloody stumps. Ooh. You recreate you, amputate you. You defile my womb. Wow.
Wow. Um, I just got a weird sensation through my body when you said bloody stumps. It like hurt in my feet. And I did just go to the Medieval Torture Museum in Chicago when I was there. Love Surgery, it's delivered comically. If you don't
It
read too
is.
deep into the lyrics, are
Again,
difficult.
we should mention many before every song. This is satirical comedy. I understand why somebody would find it offensive and not want to listen to it. I get that. However, I feel like I'm not even going to say that. I don't want to get canceled. Anyway, fun song, good riffs, good solos. And one of the things about this album that the first one did not have is there are bass solos, not like Flea or anything, but you got
Uh,
oh, you're muted. You
I
muted.
muted myself. There are Motorhead style bass solos.
Yeah, yeah,
Beefcake the
yeah.
Mighty um, is an amazing bass player. Actually, came from a punk rock background. The original Beefcake.
Still my favorite name in the band.
Definitely the. I mean, Jizmac the Gusha is pretty great, as well as Ballsack the Jaws of Death. But
I do like Balzac.
Balzac. But yeah, Beefcake the Mighty is just, especially if you're a chubster like myself, Beefcake's great. Yeah. No, no, no. It's a. I would say this song could have been shorter. This didn't need to be a 5 minute song. I could have did 3 minutes on this one.
This record could, I mean, frankly, they could have chopped about 10 off this
Like,
whole
oh,
record.
10 out of 13.
No, not the
Oh,
songs.
10 minutes.
10
Yeah, okay.
minutes. They
Yeah,
could have
okay.
chopped 10 minutes out of
I
this
thought
thing.
you were gonna say 10 songs. What?
No.
Oh no.
What? Yeah, yeah, we're gonna take this from Kiss Hot in the Shade. It's a great record if you only have Rise, if you only release it as a 7-inch with Rise to It on side A and Forever on side B.
Mm.
Tell me I'm wrong. You want to hear any other song off that
I don't
record?
want to hear any song off that record. How do we not? How do we? We went so long without a Kiss reference. I want to
No.
say on behalf of all our fans, thank you for no Vinnie Vincent news for a while. I needed a respite. I'm glad.
Look, I only give you news when he does something.
Well, he doesn't do anything. So, moving on. We're almost to the end.
Moving on, Death Pod. Now we got a song about the Master. Yeah. And his clones. I didn't know he had clones. That's a new one. So this is where they talk about Antarctica, I believe. So now we
This is a story building song. I don't love this song, to be honest, but like I get why. Like this song helps bridge the deeper story of GWAR, which I do like.
deeper butt stuff or just regular butt stuff?
The deeper story.
Butt stuff?
Not this one. Not this one.
That's weird. I'm sorry. I
You're
know we're
weird.
making that joke a lot today, but
Well,
it really is all. I mean, speaking of songs
speaking of
about
butt
butts,
stuff, this is the track. The butt stuff song on this album of all butt stuff songs except two. Go for it.
next we have Sexecutioner. And so the best way I can set this up, I think. Oh, wait, not seduction. I'm trying to look up Sexecutioner lyrics and it brought seduction. Uh,
Even the computer's like, dude, I give up. Stop.
no, it won't give it to me.
GWAR will give it to you though, in the butt
There we God. There we go. Finally got it.
with the
I
cutters.
had to, I had to I had to put GWAR in there because I kept doing like seduction. Okay. So the best way I can start
What are
off with
you
this.
googling, by the way? Anyway, go ahead.
I think that's what Google is thinking. What are you doing? Do you want to go on a list, sir? All right.
We're on a
So,
list already. We're so screwed. Go ahead.
do you remember Vincent Price in Batman?
Love Vincent Price, dude. You have no idea.
Excellent.
That's where it comes from. That's where
Yes.
Mr. Burns gets excellent Smithers.
Yeah. So
I love Vincent
basically,
Price.
Sexecutioner does the exact same thing as the Eggmaster or whatever that character's name was did. So, excuse me. That's where it starts. Sexplain. Oh my. Oh my.
Is it hot in here or is it these lyrics? Ooh,
I don't
goodness.
think it's these lyrics.
Getting moist.
I think
in
it's
the
me
gooey
getting
bag.
oh god. I think it's very it's a damp night in the United States of a moistica.
No. Moister
Uh
than an oyster.
yeah.
Sexecutioner, still a great character, still shows up at most gore shows. They still perform this song live all the time.
I'm sexecuting you. Is that like death by snoo?
Basically.
This also has Slemenstra Hyman.
Slemenstra making her debut on this album. I got to meet her once, Danielle. She's incredible.
Red Rover, bend over and let sexy take over. Oh, then I saw the next things that are in the lyrics, and I'm gonna scroll on past those.
Scroll on by.
How many times have I played this record in front of my kid? Oh my god, I am awful.
Yes, I've said before, your parenting has to come into question, but it's okay. I'm sure she's a great kid. I can't wait to meet her.
All right, passing up on Sexecutioner. Next, we're gonna go Cool Place to Park, which I'm
Still,
sure
yeah.
has only minimal butt stuff.
No, I mean it's definitely a butt reference, but what a great song to close the album. Your thoughts?
Let me get a quick little.
I mean, like I don't judge the lyrics; is not what I'm judging the whole thing on.
The
I love
lyrics
this
help me
song.
remember the
Oh,
song.
okay. Well, I love this song, and this is Beefcake's debut as a vocalist, and this is also still in the set, and they redid this
Mm,
just a few years ago when they did their Tiny Desk concert, and it may have been a single also with Blothaar now singing it because
Satan's
things.
sow is honking. Hera's slowly creeping. Nymphs in my back seat are dripping on my naga hide. All right. Well, you know what? I did not think we were going to be discussing naga hide today. Should
Hmm.
we talk about dungarees while we're at it?
Canvas bags. Yeah, this song's great, and what a great closer. I think more than half of this record is excellent. I'm gonna just go there. I still love this record a lot. This is probably my favorite GWAR record. Um, I would like to know. Apparently, the Years Without Light and Cool Place to Park were not in the original version, but only re-released when Metal Blade
The
assumed the
30th
bait.
anniversary.
Yeah, so, but I guess it's was a CD only for 90, and
Hmm.
maybe cassette. But what a great record! I
It's
think
a
it's a great record.
absolutely fun record. I'm not, it's hard to judge these two records. I mean, we're getting into, where I always talk about The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon is the best record. The Wall was my favorite. And I think this is a better record overall than the predecessor. The predecessor is just the one that has the nostalgia, that has the fancy tickling. This has butt stuff, not fancy tickling. And I prefer the fancy tickling, less butt stuff.
Nick is all about the slap and tickle of the pickle, not so much the bum
Uh,
diddly diddly. Um,
I don't need the back. I just don't want to be in the back seat of a Volkswagen. I mean, that's just really all I can say.
Shannon Hamilton wants to do uncomfortable stuff to me in the back of a.
In an
Anyway,
uncomfortable place. What, like the back of a
in a
Volkswagen?
Volkswagen? Right.
Oh,
Continue.
referential humor is the best.
Shout out to my mom, who would not talk about sex with me, but would, in front of me, talk about sexual exploits of all my friends.
Oh my God.
And then, like, ask for, like, explicit details. And I
All
was like,
right, all
this is
right, all right.
horrifying.
That is no. I don't. I thank you for scarring me for life. I'm going to call my
I
therapist.
already broke the speed dial button for the
I
therapist.
didn't. I haven't needed him in a minute. Thank you for that.
I
Thank you
once tried
for.
to have phone sex and put my penis in the 9. Anyway, continuing. Shout out to Kevin Meaney for that joke forever. It really hurt. Go ahead.
You are lucky you're hosting this meeting because you would have been muted on my side by now.
Any final thoughts on the record? I love it.
Final thoughts. It's a
It's
great
messed up,
record.
but I love it.
It's completely messed up, but it's messed up to. John Freeman did an interview once where he talked about, when he would send press releases to Japan and he would talk about GWAR coming to drop the next atomic bomb on Tokyo. And they would all be like, "What?" And he's like, "No, it's odorous saying it. It's fine." That's kind of how this is. And I and excuse me by the by, I almost wish I didn't think that, but if I didn't think that, I wouldn't get this record. So I am done. Take us out.
Yeah, fair enough. It's my turn to take us home. You have been listening to the Glacially Musical Podcast. I am Keefy of GhostCultMag.com. You can find me everywhere at GhostCultMag and at GhostCultKeefy. As you know, the host of the show is the wonderful, great, magnanimous Nick Cameron, who you can find at Glacially Musical on Instagram, at Glacially underscore musical, Glacially
Mhm.
Musical on Facebook, at Nick underscore no underscore C, because there is no C in Nick Cameron on X and maybe Blue Sky and
I'm on
Threads.
blue. I'm on Blue Sky, and
I
I'm
finally
actually.
joined Blue Sky as Ghost Cult Mag.
I don't remember
Um,
what my handle is here. It's at Glacial Musical.
okay, fair enough. Hard to keep the branding on point, but if you made it this far, you clearly love GWAR. You clearly like us a lot. You really like us, like Gidget, and thank
And
you
we
for being
appreciate, and
here.
that's what we appreciate about
Yeah,
you.
we do appreciate you. Give us a review, like and subscribe. Leave us a
I
five
am.
star review.
I'm sorry. I need to actually jump in. I want to thank everybody because our first GWAR episode 1, did really well. And thank you, GWAR fans, for checking us out and sticking with us. And hopefully, you're
We
hearing this too.
we have yet to talk about bohabs, but next week we probably need to do a few minutes on them and their bohab culture. This is the fan base of GWAR fans. But thank you for being here. I agree. We did very well. Our first episode definitely exceeded my expectations.
Same.
I'm thrilled when anyone listens to these. You can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. You can check it out on YouTube. You can check it out at Ghost Cult Mag, where it lives. Once again, you are watching and listening to the Glacially Musical podcast. It does not play in Peoria, but undoubtedly, if you are from Peoria, you are not only prone to butt stuff, you enjoy doing butt stuff to other people.
With John Deere.